Now that that's done with, let's get on with the show, shall we?
I feel the need for speed. Ow!
You'll be relieved to know that this ridiculous exchange is never once uttered or recreated anywhere in this entire film.
Captain Pete Maverick Mitchell. Let me be perfectly blunt. You are not my first choice. You are here at the request of Admiral Kazansky, aka Iceman. He seems to think that you have something left to offer the Navy. What that is, I can't imagine.
With all due respect, sir, I'm not a teacher. Just want to manage expectations.
What the hell?
Good morning, aviators. This is your captain speaking.
I remember being a big fan of the original Top Gun back in the day. I'm pretty sure we had it on VHS, taped off the TV, so it was probably heavily edited for conservative 80s mentalities. I remember it as a fun, exciting movie, which was all I was really looking for as a 12-year-old kid with a hankering for action movies. Of course, all the homosexual undertones flew over my head faster than the F-14s in the movie. I was so clueless and sheltered back then. Hell, when Rizzo says she skipped a period in Greece, I honestly thought she just didn't go to class. That said, nothing about the build-up towards this movie enticed me in any way. It honestly just felt like a Tom Cruise vanity project. And this has been a long build-up as well. This film was another victim of the COVID release delay, having been originally scheduled to come out back in 2019. To be completely truthful, I really only went and saw this because we still had a week to wait before Jurassic World. So believe me when I tell you that I really was not expecting it to be this good. And it is. It's a great film. Benjamin Buttons himself, Tom Cruise, returns as Pete Maverick Mitchell. After 30 years in the Navy, he has avoided any and all opportunities for promotion and is still a captain, which allows him to still fly. He works as a test pilot and appears to still be unliked by and routinely pisses off his superiors. Or in other words, he seems to have shown no personal growth since 1986. After breaking all known laws of physics and credibility by pushing a prototype jet beyond Mach 10, a feat that, to this day, modern technology is incapable of with a manned aircraft in Earth's atmosphere, and somehow surviving the crash of the damn thing, Maverick is once again sent back to Top Gun, the Navy's elite training facility for fighter pilots, as an instructor. His new mission is to train a whole new batch of arrogant, over-the-top, and very, very pretty fighter pilots for their own version of the Death Star trench run, in order to take out a nuclear weapons plant somewhere in Iran. This new group includes Miles Teller's Rooster, the son of Maverick's flying partner Goose, played by Anthony Edwards, and his wife Meg Ryan from the original. Rooster blames Maverick for the death of his father and for sidelining his flying career. God, I didn't realize how convoluted some of this stuff was until just now. As soon as I got home from seeing this, I watched the original again, which confirmed a sneaking suspicion I had, in that this movie follows the exact same beats as the original. It's practically moment for moment. That said, this movie is still original in its storytelling, never really making you feel like you had to have seen the 86 film in order to comprehend what's happening. Actually, that's something that I'll praise this film for over a lot of its nostalgia-baiting brethren that has been coming out in the last several years. While there was a couple of, hey, remember this moments in the film, it tended to stand on its own 2 feet as much as possible. For instance, I mentioned at the top that they don't use one of the most famous lines from the film. But there's also no attempt to recreate that other most famous scene. The one that had young men the world over embarrassing the fuck out of themselves at bars and clubs well into the 90s. There's a brief mention of the fate of Meg Ryan's character, but only to forward the character of Rooster. Val Kilmer's cameo as Iceman was beautifully handled, showing a very deep and long friendship between him and Maverick. I was shocked to find out that Val's voice had been digitally recreated by an AI system to cover for the ailing actor's battle with throat cancer. And there is no mention of Charlie, Maverick's original love interest, played by Kelly McGillis in the original film. Apparently, Kelly was never even asked to return for this film, having both the audacity and the bad luck to actually age the way a normal 64-year-old woman would, which Hollywood simply cannot abide. To replace her, we have the wonderful Jennifer Connelly, playing what turns out to be a legacy character. In the beginning of the first movie, there's a scene where Maverick and Goose are getting chewed out by their superior, who mentions Maverick's involvement with an admiral's daughter.
And one admiral's daughter.
Jennifer's character is said daughter. Jennifer is playing a character that, as a 47-year-old man, I can only describe as the woman you wish you wound up with. Smart, headstrong, fearless, confident, supportive, caring, no nonsense, and sexy as hell. She is unfazed by Maverick's charm and does not tolerate any of his bullshit, while at the same time is exactly the sort of positive influence he needs. John Hamm puts in a great performance as Maverick's Top Gun superior, who absolutely hates him. You kind of feel sorry for the guy as he tries to deal with Maverick's borderline insubordination during the training. He's offset by Charles Parnell, who also doesn't like Maverick very much, but tends to see the necessity in his methods. And then we have the new characters playing the fighter pilots, who all find themselves at various levels on the I want to slap the smug out of you scale. And this time, they even threw a woman into the mix. But this is no shrinking violet or misplaced love interest. No. She's right up front and just as tough as any of the boys. The only difference being that she doesn't have to take her shirt off when they play football on the beach. And let's talk about the football on the beach scene. The original volleyball scene is rated number 3 on the list of greatest unintentional gay moments in Hollywood history, and has become iconic, both in parody and in fan favoritism. Did you seriously think they weren't going to try and replicate this in some fashion? Backlit, golden, coconut-drenched guys and girls who have absolutely gotten their money's worth from their New Year, New Me gym memberships, parading and flexing their asses off while unnecessarily playing football on a sun-drenched beach. It's a good scene, but too much effort was put into trying to replicate what Tony Scott did almost by accident. Speaking of Tony Scott, there have been a lot of attempts to replicate his filmmaking style over the years. His influence was very heavily seen in some of his proteges, filmmakers like David Fincher or Michael Bay, and a lot of people have tried to replicate that look and style over the years, but I think this film comes the closest. Everything looks great. The lighting, the shot composition, the color grade all adds to the closest I have seen to a genuine 1986 stylization in a long while. This is kind of an epic film, and the filmmakers work really hard to make the visuals match that epic quality. And then there's the aerial sequences. Apparently Tom Cruise was adamant that little to no CGI was to be used, and it shows. There's a feeling throughout that they are all really up there, feeling the G-forces and pressure that comes from flying these machines in actual combat scenarios. The authenticity of the aerial sequences helps the believability of the action, as these guys are breaking more than a few basic laws of science in some of the stunts they pull off. But it is exciting and pulls you into the story in a way a lot of final scene CGI fests tend to miss out on. And best of all, the music is amazing. The original theme gets brought back and adds to the almost mythic nature of some of the footage. And of course, they play the Danger Zone song. I was not interested in seeing this film, but I have to admit to really enjoying myself. The film was over 2 hours long, but never really felt like it was dragging. The everyone made it out alive ending was a little bit cheesy, but you really couldn't have ended it any other way. Even though this was a film that nobody was really screaming for, it seems to have really captured people in this certain moment of time. I guess the world just felt the need. The need for... Nope. I'm not doing that. Sorry. No.